Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. In 1980, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a brutal standoff known as the Cold War. The war played out in many arenas, not just on the battlefield, but in economics, technology, and sports. During the Winter Olympic Games of 1980, the United States hockey team won a magnificent victory over the powerful Soviet Red Army team on their way to a gold medal, lifting American spirits in an unsettling time. Let's look at the Olympic ice hockey game that came to be known as the Miracle on Ice. Now, to understand how much a simple sports game meant to the American people, you have to remember the times. In 1980, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in this wicked standoff for 35 years. Now, usually, for most Americans, they lived in constant fear of a nuclear attack. And add to that, we had just made it through nearly 2 decades of a controversial conflict in Vietnam that cost many American lives and caused division between American patriots and the growing secular movement. America needed a lift, and we got it at the 1980 Olympic Games in Lake Placid, New York. The United States hockey team, a surprisingly determined group of college players, advanced in the gold medal tournament to the semifinal round. There, they met the mighty Soviet Union Red Army team. Now, this hockey team, you need to understand, was preeminent. They were technically enlisted in the Soviet Red Army, but their job was not to fight, it was to play hockey 24/7, and as such, assert Soviet dominance as a spectacle throughout the world. And since the start of the Cold War at the end of World War II, they had won 5 gold medals, including a gold in each of the previous 4 Olympics, and would go on to win 2 more in the 1980s before the Soviet collapse in 1991. But in 1980, the Red Army was also the favorite to win the gold, a heavy favorite. But in the semifinal game, the United States held its ground with a fiercely loyal crowd backing it in New York. After falling behind in the first period 2-1, the Americans kept pace despite being heavily outshot by the Russians in the second and entered the final period of play behind 3-2. Halfway through the third period, the Americans tied the score on a goal from Mark Johnson, his second of the game. Less than 2 minutes later, Mike Eruzione made a brilliant shot past the Soviet goalie to take a 4-3 lead and send the hometown crowd in Lake Placid into a frenzy. The Soviets furiously tried to push the puck back into the net to tie the game, but they could not. The Americans held on for a miraculous 4-3 win in a game that would forever be known as the Miracle on Ice. Now, contrary to popular belief, this was not the gold medal game. The United States advanced to the gold medal game with this win, and they defeated Finland 4-2, again in come-from-behind fashion, bringing home the gold and lifting the spirits of Americans nationwide. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.